switch over the mic again, Mr. Carroll.
Thanks. All right, just a couple of last words. Mr. Carroll has a really interesting recollection of the evidence. It certainly doesn't match ours, and I'm guessing it doesn't match yours. FYI, the lab for the coat was 165, not 167. And the DLI lab, it doesn't say anywhere on it that it was touch DNA. It was blood that they tested. Juliana did not repeatedly say that she didn't know how to work Gmail. She said that she did not create the Gmail account, that was Brendan. Giaccio and Bruce had the catfish plan and they peddled it and pushed it to everyone. I don't think that's at all what came out. I think that Mr. Carroll is trying to focus on the HR woes of the Fairfax County Police Department to distract you from the fact that the evidence actually supported that theory and that he has provided you and his client has provided you with absolutely nothing to refute that theory. Why was there so much discussion and disagreement over the digital evidence? Because it could never be that smoking gun. You all heard it from their expert. You can't put someone behind that screen unless you're sitting next to them. So as much as we want it to tell the story here, as much as we want it to be the perfect evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that this thing had to happen, the digital evidence just isn't that. We wish it were, but it's not. And Detective Miller did nothing wrong, and Mr. Lidsky did nothing wrong. They just told you the truth. And the truth is that they can tell you what a device was doing, but they can't tell you who was using the device. Juliana Perez Magalhaes' testimony was bought and paid for. Yes, she pled guilty to a lesser offense in exchange for her testimony. Ms. Frissler made sure you knew that from the get-go. Juliana talked about that. She explained for her reasons why. Nothing was hidden. After her sentence, it sounds like she might have the opportunity to make, 10 grand off of selling her story. She said that she would use that to support her family. And then what? Is she gonna work as a nanny? I mean, she's a convicted murderer. Do we really think that it is so reasonable that she made up this complete lie for 10 grand? Really? If this version is correct, coming from Mr. Banfield, then she would be set free. She would be as not guilty as he would be. So she's gonna give up that shot for 10 grand? I just don't buy it. Whose story is more credible here? Juliana's or Mr. Banfield's? Whose version does the rest of the evidence support? The defendant took the stand and he lied. And he lied about collateral matters. He told you that he had a big career-defining work meeting the morning of the murder. And then you heard from his boss who said, no, he didn't. He lied. He said that he and Juliana did not have a plan to kill Christine at the time that they went to the shooting range. Well, he said, not at that time. If he's lying about the things that don't matter, how can you believe a single word he said? And ladies and gentlemen, you have to do that in this case, because without some alternate theory, the Commonwealth's evidence is uncontroverted. So you got to pick one. Juliana, Mr. Banfield. Whose story does the evidence support? All of that blood, the DNA, to some extent the digital forensics, the physical evidence collected at the scene. That's what you can rely on. Don't rely on his narrative and his recollection of the evidence. For that reason, don't rely on mine or on Ms. Rissler's. Rely on yours. It is your collective recollection of the evidence that you have heard that is controlling. You know what was said here. You know what the evidence is. We trust you to make the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Members of the jury, this is an important case to both the Commonwealth and the defendant. In order to reach a verdict, each of you must agree on that verdict. In other words, the verdict must be unanimous. The first thing you should do when you get back to the jury room is to select a presiding juror. The role of the presiding juror is to see to it that the deliberations are conducted in an orderly and businesslike manner, that they are conducted only in the jury room when all members of the jury are present, and that each juror has the opportunity to fully and fairly express his or her views. It is rarely helpful for jurors upon first entering the jury room to take a straw vote, or for any juror to make an emphatic expression of his or her opinion in the case, or to announce a determination to stand for a certain verdict. To do so before all jurors have had an opportunity to consult with one another and exchange views and opinions might allow your sense of pride to prevent you from retreating from an announced position, even when shown that such position is unsound. You have a duty to consult with one another and to deliberate with the objective of reaching an agreement, if it can be done without offending your individual judgment. Each of you must decide this case for yourself, but only after an impartial consideration of the evidence with your fellow jurors. In the course of deliberation, a juror should not hesitate to re-examine his or her own views and change his or her opinion if convinced it is an error. However, none of you should surrender your honest conviction as to the weight or effect of the evidence solely because of the opinion of your fellow jurors or for the mere purpose of returning a verdict. In the jury room, you will have the exhibits that were entered into evidence, you will have the instructions of law that I just read to you, and you will have the verdict forms. Much of the evidence in this case was in electronic files, so you're going to have a clean laptop that's going to have those files on there for you, and that you will be able to access, and you also have the big TV in the jury room that you can plug in the laptop to that so everybody can view the evidence at the same time, okay? As far as the firearms and knife, the Sheriff's Department has control of those items. If and when you want to see those items, you just have to let the deputy know, and those items will be brought to you. Only the deputy will handle them, but you can ask her to manipulate them however you wish to have them manipulated. But please do not have any deliberations while the deputy is in the room with you, okay? Wait till the deputy leaves before you do that, okay? All right, so during your deliberations until you are discharged from jury service, you must not communicate with or provide any information to anyone who is not a member of this jury by any means about this case. You may not use any electronic device or media to conduct any independent research about this case, the legal or factual issues in the case, or the individuals or attorneys involved in the case. You are not permitted to consult dictionaries or reference materials, search the internet, visit websites or blogs, or use any other tool to obtain information about this case to help you decide the case. Do not try to find out information from any source outside the testimony and the exhibits received as evidence during the trial. You will have, again, you also have with you the verdict forms. There's 4 charges in front of you, okay? So you're going to have 4 separate verdict forms, all right? Once you have have made a decision, each of the verdict forms should have the foreperson signature at the appropriate place. There's places for guilty and not guilty for each count that you've heard. 2 aggravated murder counts, 1 firearm count, and 1 child endangerment count. Okay, so each form is separately. So each form, upon the finishing of your deliberation, should have the signature of the foreperson just on 1 space on each form. Okay, if you sign both places on the form, it gets confused. If we're confused, then that's not the way it works. Okay, so just make sure you do that. Okay, now for the last part before you deliberate, the fun part. You remember that in the beginning of this case, I told you we had randomly selected 4 people to be alternates, okay? We still have 4 alternates. Thank you all for your service and being so professional, and even during the snowstorm, making it here on time, and we do appreciate that. And let me just say before I release the alternates that I know that this trial has been a huge sacrifice for you all and have taken you away from your lives for 3 weeks now. I know I speak for all of us associated with this case that I want to thank you for your service in this matter. I know it is hard to have come this far and then not get a chance to deliberate, but that does not lessen the respect and admiration that we have for you. As an alternate, you will not deliberate, but you will still be under the order of the court, okay? And so you cannot do any outside research at this time in the case, or you can't talk to anybody about this case at this time because you're still under oath as a juror. That is because if something happens to a juror during deliberations, I will call you back to service and deliberations would start again as you would be part of the jury as well. So that's why you're still under the order of the court. You are under these restrictions and your oath until a verdict is reached. Once a verdict is reached, we will reach out to you and contact you and let you know this has occurred, and then you are free from all your obligations, okay? So again, thank you for your service. At this time, I'll call the alternate jurors, and if you could go with the deputy, you have to collect your items, and we'll get you on your way, okay? So the alternate jurors I have are number 26, number 24, and number 38. So if you could follow Deputy Johnson out at this time. (26, 17, 24, and 38). 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, these are the 12 jurors that are going to be deliberating in this case, okay? You can take as long as you need to deliberate, and at this point, you can take breaks whenever you wish to, and you can let the court know. If you're still deliberating next week, you can let the court know if you want to come in at 9, you can come in at 9, or if you want to come in at 10, that's fine. When you're done for the evening, I know there's one juror that has to be done by 4:30 today, so make sure we respect that timing for that juror. But you can take breaks whenever you wish. You can take your lunch breaks, and you can make them an hour, you can make them a half hour, you can do what you like. It's just important that you do not deliberate at any time unless all jurors are in that jury room at the same time, okay? So during breaks, we don't deliberate, okay? We make sure we take care of that. All right. Do we have another deputy that can? All right. I can excuse you now to deliberate at this time if I have a deputy.
Judge, while we're waiting on that moment, can we approach on one?
Sure, sure. Gentlemen, just one more item before you deliver. If for some reason you have any issues with the laptop, please let the deputy know. And if you're having trouble with any of the exhibits, let us know because we can print out anything and everything that you need, okay? So if it gets frustrating at any point, just let me know and I'll make the parties print anything out that you need, okay? All right, thank you. You can now go to deliberate. Is the laptop ready? If you want to review the verdict forms before they go back as well. The laptop is coming from IT, so if you want to wait for that too for me, so just so you can make sure the laptop is clean and everything, all your exhibits are on there, and then that will go back to the jurors, okay? Yes, all right, we'll be in recess then.
Thank you. All rise.